two guests today that I'm going to introduce. So first of all, we do have Brendan Fenner from Hong10와, head brewer, and we have Dyzee, world famous from Toronto, Canada. All right. And also, we have a lot of people to thank today. That's why I'm doing introduction. First off, I do want to thank Global Craft Korea because they import this Founders beer and like Firestone Walker, and they give us free samples today. So 4 of the 5 beers are from them. Last beer is from Jeongbin Shi, so thank you Jeongbin for the KBS. Okay. All right. So today, guys, very simple topic. All the same brewery, Founders, right? And they're from Grand Rapids, Michigan. So let's get started with their first beer, All Day IPA.
Excited.
So maybe Brendan, you could talk a little bit about the Session IPA since you enjoy it so much.
Okay, yeah. So Session IPA is a lower alcohol version of a regular India Pale Ale. So it's a little bit easier to drink. Typically a little bit lower in bitterness, just so the bitterness doesn't overwhelm because of the lower alcohol. And Session means it's made to be consumed many in one sitting, so you can have 2, 3, or 4 because of the lower alcohol. That's what they mean by Session.
Alright, so let's get started.
And I like Session beers because when I drink beer, I like to drink more than one. 2 or 3.
Sounds good. So Dyzee, this is your first time doing this beer thing?
Yes.
So the first thing we will do is look at the appearance. Then we will go into the aroma, then the taste, the mouthfeel, and just your overall thoughts on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm not very good at explaining. My wife is really good at that. She's so good at explaining exactly how she's feeling. I don't know how.
There you go. And then Polly?
So this is
All the IPA session. Looks like an IPA, pretty transparent.
Little bit of haze,
a little bit of haze.
probably from hops.
Nice. Golden straw color, I would say. Typical IPA. So maybe Namkyung Lee, what do you get? Aroma wise?
I've got citrusy.
Citrus. Yeah, it's hard for me to smell.
Citrus, I get a little bit of grassy character too.
Fresh grass.
Yeah.
So for everyone's information, this was bottled May 20th. So this is a little over 2 months old.
Not too old.
Yeah.
Not
For
super
Korea,
fresh.
this is really
Yeah,
good.
not bad.
One thing I do want to say about Global Craft Korea, supposedly they're the only importers that bring it cold
Cold
on the
chain.
ship.
Probably.
So,
I can feel a little bit of sweetness.
yeah, I smell a lot of like caramel malts.
In the aroma, yeah.
Any of that? It smells like beer.
I'm learning so much right now. I'm like, wow.
But the fun thing about, drinking beer and trying beer, and especially in this way, like there's no wrong answer. If it reminds you of something, it doesn't mean you're wrong. If you smell that, that's how you interpret it. So
Right.
Yeah, once in a while.
if you get something, don't feel like you're saying the wrong answer.
No, I never use never really use my nose that much. So,
Well, the brewers work very hard to get these aromas in there. So
Well, it smells good. Like I want to drink it.
Yeah.
But that's also the big difference why you do pour it out into glass. If you want to smell it, look at it. All right, let's take a taste.
I'm learning so much.
Not that bitter.
Yeah.
I think.
Is this bitter to you?
No, not really bitter, but I actually really like bitter.
Okay. So you do
I like that bite. I like that. Yikes.
So is this not as bitter as you prefer your beer? Or like an IPA style?
Yeah, I like things more stronger.
Okay.
Like, I like to feel it when I drink it and like.
Okay. Well, we are progressively.
I think it's delicious though. It's amazingly delicious. So.
This is something you might not know, but see on the back here it says 42 IBUs. So that's a ranking or a number system that the brewing industry created to tell you how bitter the beer is. So it stands for International Bitterness Units. So this beer is 42 IBUs. And you can see each one has a
Yeah, I
ranking.
see. Oh wow.
So that tells you how bitter it is. I mean, 40, that's not too bitter.
No, it's for the alcohol level. I think it's appropriate.
Oh no, it gets hot.
But and also you got to keep in mind that bitterness is going to be balanced by the sweetness. So the less sweet a beer is, the more bitter it'll taste. So when we drink this porter later, that's almost the same amount of IBUs. It's not going to taste as bitter because it has more sweet flavor to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's very sessionable though.
Yep.
It's very nice.
I get a little bit of graininess, but not an unpleasant graininess in the flavor.
What about grainies?
Now, do you think, I don't know, I've never tried this fresh. I've never tried this in the States. Have you?
Yeah.
So do you feel like the hops have eroded?
I think a little bit, yeah.
Because I mostly taste malts.
Yeah. I mean, hoppy beers, the fresher the better, for sure. The hop character fades pretty quickly.
So what would you say ideally? So let's say we were drinking your slow IPA from Hand and Malt. How long?
Right out of the tank.
Right.
No, like I was saying before, talking outside, we put 3 months on our beers, and within 3 months it's still very good, but if you can drink it in the first couple of weeks, some of the more delicate flavors and aromas are going to fade over time.
So I can feel really sharp character of the hops, right?
Yep.
Smell and flavor.
In this one?
I mean, just out of the tank.
Oh, out of the tank, yeah.
Mouthfeel, I'm gonna say it's a little, it's like medium. It's not too watery for me. Usually I don't like session IPAs because they're a little too watery.
Because of the body. Yeah, I think it's quite good and balanced, and bitterness, sweetness, and the body.
I think it's a little watery for me.
Too watery for you. Oh.
But it's still delicious.
Don't worry, we're gonna get thicker and thicker, stronger and stronger and all
A
that.
lot.
Remember, everyone, that's the beauty of beer, just is so diverse that everyone can have a particular style. That's what the worst thing is when someone says, oh, I drink beer, I don't like beer. You haven't even seen how, like, the different types of beer.
Right.
There's beers for wine people, there's beers for, like, chugging, there's beers for, there's sour beers, sweet beers, dessert beers.
Okay, that makes so much sense now.
So it sounds like you like the hoppy beers, but, like, IPAs are double IPAs, like, stronger hoppy.
Yeah, I think I like the chuggy beers.
The chuggy, okay, the chuggy and bitter.
Really chuggy.
Chuggy, like
Like,
chug.
drink a lot of them.
Feels like I've been drinking beer wrong my whole life.
You know what? There's no wrong or right. I feel like it's whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah.
Well, very interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Like literally, I share like good beer with my friends and sometimes I just want a Coors Light. So that's how it is.
Like this.
Yeah.
How can I say after feel?
But
Aftertaste.
aftertaste or mouthfeel.
Yeah, exactly. And it lasts the bitterness.
Yeah, like a lingering kind of bitterness. Yeah.
I think it's just quite good.
Which I think sometimes when a beer has that, it kind of makes you want more because that flavor kind of sticks around, so it makes you want to kind of get that refreshed.
Yeah, I'm already done with mine.
So you liked it?
Yeah, it was refreshing. Yeah. Question: Easy Jack. If you compare.
Compare.
You know.
Actually, I don't like the session IPAs.
Yeah. Well.
So I compared to that, I prefer Easy Jack.
Easy Jack. Okay. Well, since you did just learn a little bit more about beer, right? We do want to know more about b-boying. So just like we broke it down in terms of aroma, appearance, taste, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
For the casual b-boy viewer, they're like, wow, he's doing some flips, he's doing some flares, that's awesome, that's amazing, but then they don't win in competitions, right? So as the casual viewer, we want to learn more about b-boying. What should we be looking for? What are the elements?
So it's actually very interesting how you broke it down with those different things, because in b-boying there's like 5 major different perspectives, and each person who's judging, you don't really know which one they're judging on, right? Which one is their preference. So the first one would be what everyone knows is the dynamics. It's the crazy big moves, the big tricks, the flashy stuff, right? That's one perspective that most people see first. But the second one is the dancing perspective, the foundation perspective, meaning like, is the person actually dancing to the music? Like, how are they being the part of the song? So I don't know what that would be with in beer terms or you know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like balance or something like that.
Yeah. And the third one is an art perspective. It's creativity, right? So it's about, you know, like how different and original you are, and if you're using your own moves. So someone can flip, but everyone does flips. So can someone do a flip that's their own that only they do?
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth one is execution. So that would probably be like the presentation of it, like you know, of the bottle or something like that, right? And the last one is the conversation perspective. So when two people are battling, someone can throw a specific move. If you do anything besides that move, you're not really conversating, right? So these are the 5 different perspectives. It's kind of similar to how you were saying, like balance, taste, and everything like that.
What to use your personally like the important kind of
For me,
criteria for you?
all criteria are important. But before I actually looked at other perspectives, I just like creativity because that's my strength is originality, creativity.
For beer, what do you look for? What's that special criteria for you that you gravitate towards?
Of what you just mentioned, like of the different aroma, flavor. I mean, flavor I think is number 1 for me. A lot of people say balance, but I have a hard time with that term sometimes because like a double IPA is not really supposed to be balanced. It's supposed to be hop forward and hop heavy. So I think flavor is more important because ultimately you are drinking it, so flavor is what. Yeah.
So flavor would be like foundation.
And again, like you said, everything's important.
Perfect.
To me, like flavors.
We actually use that word flavor too.
I think that's important. And in beer, you know, each one has a designated style, so you kind of have an expectation.
There we
but
go.
from there, you do new things, right? Like you can branch out.
Yep.
Right.
So I think then dynamics or the flashy stuff would just be doesn't get you drunk.
Interesting. What about you, Namkyung? What's your an important criteria for you in general? Aroma, 냄새, look, flavor, mouthfeel.
I think look is very, very important
Okay.
for me.
Uh-huh.
And then aroma.
Aroma.
Yeah. Aroma is very important to me because I was kind of beer hater kind of thing. So after that, I just experienced the pale ale in local. So I smelled it. So it was so nice. So I started to like it.
That's how good
Yeah,
beer.
exactly. So
Interesting. I mean, for me, it's mouthfeel. That's what I'm biased towards. Right. So if it had, I want thick, chewy, that type of mouthfeel for especially stouts and things like that.
Yeah.
I hate thin stuff. So.
watery or anything. Watery.
Yeah, I don't like water. That's why I don't like session IPAs.
Yep.
So. Because I'll session the thick stuff too. Right? You don't need to go.
Normally session beer is not very chewy, right?
Which one?
Session beers?
Yeah,
No,
session beers.
I wouldn't say so, yeah, because the idea is it's something you can drink a lot of. So I think heavier, thicker beers are harder to drink a lot of. So that's where, I mean, where the session comes from. You can drink many in one session.
Makes sense.
But I think, you know, drinkability is another kind of term that's used in beer a lot. And it's, the beer can have great flavor and aroma, but like sometimes it doesn't have that drinkability character. Like, it might taste really good, but like you don't really want that much of it. So especially in production brewing, like you want beers that people are going to drink many of. So drinkability is very important.
It's just similar to V1, right? There's some guys who they look good that one time, but can they look good throughout the entire competition?
Exactly.
Right.
Those are like considered the people who do crazy moves. They have a few really flashy rounds, but you take away those moves and it's the same thing over and over. It gets boring.
Right.
Alright, so we're going to go on to our second beer.
Interesting. Drinkability.
So now we're going into a straight up IPA. That was a session
I'm also
IPA.
curious about drinkability.
Yeah. You know, it's going to vary from person to person what they
Yeah, it
consider
depends.
drinkability, but
Actually.
So guys, this is the Centennial IPA, Founder Centennial IPA.
It looks amber, orange.
I mean, this is a really famous, this is what, probably one of the more famous beers.
Yeah.
Right? It's always on those top IPA lists and all
Really?
that. So.
It looks like.
does that one have the date on it as well?
Yes, it should be May probably. Let me just.
Do you know 호박? Doesn't 호박이 뭐라고 하죠?
호박? Squash.
No.
Pumpkin.
No, not the pumpkin. I mean some kind of jewel. It comes out from the trees, and then it get thick and hard, and like this.
Oh, like the color?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Sorry.
Oh, how can I say it in English?
Yeah, I'd say it's like a deep orange or maybe a copper. Dark
Copper. Yeah, copper. Yeah, much darker than the previous one. And also, this was bottled April 25th, so a little bit older
Okay.
than the other one.
I can feel the much more sweetness.
It smells a lot more like honey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What about you?
It looks like honey.
It looks like honey.
It looks like honey. Doesn't have as many bubbles as the other one.
It looks thicker already. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Paul, do you smell it?
Oh, I smell something. I don't know. I know what she was trying to say. Tree sap.
A tree sap.
What does it mean?
나무에서 나오는 그런 뭐죠? Like what would you call it?
아까 말씀하신 게 그거죠. 나무에서 이렇게.
나무에서
약간
나와서
that's what you
그
were
안에 곤충 같은 거
okay.
갇혀 있잖아. Like insects in there. And
Yeah,
then-
yeah.
The sap.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about some fruit or
Like
something.
Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Alright. So anything else on the aroma?
It's definitely malty. You get some of that
Yeah.
sweetness and a little bit of
Yeah,
honey.
first impression is really different from them because when I first smelled it, and then I felt the sweetness, and then like I'm obsessed with the sweetness.
Yeah.
So I can't feel anything.
After that?
Yeah, right.
I see. But yeah, I don't sense any real hops really. It's kind of eroded.
I get some
Yeah,
hops,
too
like
sweet.
a little piney, maybe, but I think because it's not super fresh, maybe some of the aroma has faded.
Yeah.
And also there's so much malt, maybe masking some of the hops too.
Now this is mainly Centennial hops, so would you actually be able to pick that out?
If I was trying this blind, I don't know if Centennial would be my first guess, but oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh yeah, that's good.
You like it? Yeah, it's a little bit thicker.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
I think it's really good.
It's pretty good.
So this is my
Yeah,
first
it's
time.
really good. Ooh, I'm gonna take a picture of that bottle.
So what's also interesting is in America though, this would be considered kind of, how would you say it, an old time kind of IPA, kind of outdated IPA.
Yeah.
What would you say? The style.
Possibly. Well, it's not the trendiest style of IPA right now.
So more classic.
So everyone's trying to avoid the malt. So you see that sweetness that you
old-fashioned.
taste?
Why?
Well, I think
Because they're trying to go more juice.
it's like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, juicy, and then like right now, the East Coast, like Vermont IPAs are really popular style. But I mean, the more I smell it, the more the hops I think are coming out. Maybe as it's warming and opening up a little bit of like the floral kind of character is coming through too.
Definitely. So that's one thing Dyzee, you're supposed to, you want to let it warm up a little bit so that the flavors and aromas come out. Whereas the other type of beer, we chug it. But
Just when you sip it.
yeah, it's getting much more complex as it warms up. It's a little too cold.
I'm trying to picture where is the best kind of place to drink this. I feel like it's like, when you go to a cabin or something.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a lodge, yeah.
Like a lodge or something, and like sitting on the porch.
Some pine trees around here.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. The other one felt more like you're working.
Lawnmower.
Or yeah, cutting grass.
Mowing the grass.
Mowing the grass.
It's good.
Yeah, this is sitting by the lake.
But I think it's, talking about balance, I think this one's well balanced. You get some of the sweetness and it kind of turns more into the hop flavor and comes back to the sweetness. So they're right in line with each other.
This thing is such a beautiful looking beer.
The look, I like that look.
And this one has just a touch of haze to it too. It's not perfectly clear.
So
So Dyzee, this is another thing in beer and beer tasting, especially in judging.
Mm-hmm.
But you see this foam that's left on the glass. There's a name for that. They call it lacing.
Mm-hmm.
And some people really like when you have that lacing on the glass, where the foam kind of clings to the side and looks like lace.
Mm.
So
No, just
Nice.
presentation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I think I like it too.
when you become a beer judge, in a few years, this beer has very good lacing.
You're gonna give up b-boying for
I'll make a whole judging system, scores and points and on the screen and everything. Wow.
So if you had to equate this to a b-boy move, what would it be?
Oh, I think it's just, I don't know, what would you consider this, presentation, or what would you consider this?
No, I mean like like what it does in your mouth. What do you think it does?
I think it's just like straight flavor,
So what kind of move is that?
that's just like, that would be like from the foundation perspective, when it's just all about flavor and taste, and
So now
or just a good tasting drink, like,
well you broke it down in terms of the general aspects, right? But like what's like I don't know the exact stuff of top rocking and all those different like techniques.
okay, so this would be like, okay, well, the formula of a it's like a story, right? When you throw down a set, there's the top rock, which is kind of like the introduction, and then there's the footwork when you hit the ground. That's like the main body where it shows your strength, your movement, your style, how you connect with the music, and then the final part is the freeze. Is the finishing move, So I guess that would be the icing, the finishing move right there. Lacing would be the freeze.
Okay.
When you're done and you look at the glass and you're like, yeah. It's like the b-boy stance at the end of everything. When you're just like, you get up and you're like, yeah, very important, very important.
So if you do like this particular beer, right? I am curious, just as a b-boy, right? Because usually casual viewers we gravitate towards like the power people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who in your mind, like right now, if for the random person who's watching this, a 30-year-old like guy who works at Samsung or whoever, who should they YouTube? Like, what's the b-boy that you want to champion that says like, you should watch this guy. This guy, he's a guy that you feel represents the b-boy culture.
Well, I think the interesting thing about breaking is there's no right and there's no wrong. Like everybody will fight over, probably like beers, right? Like everyone has their own taste.
Yeah.
Every beer brings their own thing, their own thing to the scene, right?
Yeah.
So in breaking, you can have someone who's very on the far left, who's so different, so weird, but it's important to have that guy in the culture because he might not win a one-on-one battle, but in a crew battle, he's so dangerous. He's very dangerous because nobody knows how to respond to this kind of guy, right? So I would say look up people like Hong10, or B-Boy Wing, or
all the Koreans.
Yeah. Korean guys are really great. They're, to me, they're the best.
Which one do you think is the pure aspect that because I personally enjoy like the Red Bull like one-on-one battles. But do you think like crew battles are a bit more? They show a little bit more than.
For sure. Crew battles is like when you're out with your friends and you're all having drinks together and everything, opposed to one-on-one is just like when you're home by yourself and you have a beer, like it's meant to be. I believe that even though you can do the one-on-one thing, it's meant to be with a group of people and enjoying together.
Yeah, kind of more the community aspect of it.
Yeah, it is a community thing. It's always been a group thing. It's always been that, and I know Red Bull kind of promoted the one-on-one thing, but it's kind of done. It's kind of good because it got bigger.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it kind of ruined a lot of the community relationships with each other. Yeah.
Now, do you think b-boy is getting more popular, or you think it's getting less popular?
Oh, it's getting more popular around the world. I mean, in the sense that it's the commercialized sense. Like just a few years ago, it was reaching 6 million, 10 million views on YouTube, like crazy amounts of views. But now the newer videos are reaching less amount of views. However, there's way more b-boys all around the world than there's ever been. There's like in India, in every little city, they have like people who are really coming up. So they think the third wave is gonna happen soon. The third wave, media wave. Well, the first one was in the 80s. In the 80s, there was a huge media explosion in the 80s. If you were around at that time. And then
like Bronx,
the Bronx and then exploded and then it spread all around the world. Then hip hop went all around the world. The second big media explosion was Korea. Actually, in Korea there was a media explosion. It was all over TV. But there might be a third one they believe that's coming soon, which is when it explodes, and they think that it might happen again through Korea because of the whole professional battling kind of thing. You know?
I have a question.
Sure.
So breaking, do you call it breaking and b-boying?
Break that.
Different?
No, breaking is the dance. It's kind of like it's the dance what we do with b-boying. It's kind of like the lifestyle, you know. So it's kind of like
It's a culture.
so it'd be kind of like being like I don't know. Let's say it's called b-boying is the culture of it, and then taekwondo. So for example, being Korean is Korean, and taekwondo is the fight is how you fight, right?
Yeah.
Is the martial art. Yeah. So then it would be like that, or in Japan it would be being a samurai and then doing whatever the martial art.
Way to live.
Yeah, it's the way to live. Yeah. B-boying is a way. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle in the culture.
I have a question for you. Is breaking strictly done to hip hop music, or is other music involved too?
Other music is involved. That's the interesting about breaking is you can anything with a really good beat you can dance to. So they have electro styles, they have hip hop, they have like rock, everything. Yeah, everything.
Okay.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, it's well breaking's not just a dance too. It's also like a way to. The main thing behind it is the essence of a bad boy, right? And what essentially someone is doing is they're trying to battle with somebody else, meaning they're trying to outdo whatever somebody else does, and disguising it through a dance and art and sport, everything all together. Yeah, so it's kind of like b-boying is searching the world for that perfect battle, you know? Instead of a perfect fight, it's like a perfect battle.
Interesting.
But I just think it's insane that, like, I always find it so, I don't know, I just feel like it's a beautiful thing when someone like Dyzee dedicates 20 years of their life to this one craft.
Yeah.
No, like, it's such a beautiful thing. I was recently watching a movie called Exit to the Gift Shop, and there's a Shepherd Fairy, right?
Oh, I love that.
But one of the little things that just passes by is Mr. Brainwash. He gets famous overnight, but the Shepherd Fairy, the guy who did the Obey Andre the Giant type of images. I remember like the guy asked him, how long have you been doing this? He's like, I don't know, like 15 years. Like he's been putting up posters on walls for 15 years, you know, like, it's crazy that you dedicate yourself to that one thing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's beautiful.
it'd be the same thing with someone who's dedicating their life to the craft of making beers too, right?
That's why Brandon as well. How long has it been?
I've been brewing professionally for almost 13 years, and I was a home brewer for about 3 years before that. So.
And you're still learning.
Oh yeah, every day. Yeah.
Wow. It's actually really amazing to be introduced into like this kind of world of like, oh, this is crazy.
You know, our last beer, you know, like it was a pretty controversial beer that we're gonna drink, the last one of the day. But like a lot of the Korean craft beer geeks, they were upset because only a few came in, right? And it's just like not
How
everyone can
many?
share and drink.
How many was it?
Probably
Do you know?
Yeah, I'm
about
not
3
sure.
or like 3 cases or something like that, right? So
I haven't seen it.
let's go to our third beer before our break, our last beer, and this is Founder's Porter, right? And this is probably one of the more popular ones amongst the Korean people. So it's 6.5%, right? So it's gonna be totally different from what we just drank.
Smells so good.
It's pretty much jet black. You can't really see any light through it.
Some ruby highlights at the tips.
It looks like flat
Really?
Coke.
Roast.
Oh yeah.
So nice.
It's like coffee.
Yeah, chocolate, dark chocolate.
And then some roasted.
Yeah, roasted malt.
Kind of sweet, and a little chocolate, dark chocolate.
I guess this would be in the Guinness family, kind of like.
Yeah, for sure. But you know, I promise you that if you drink this and you drink a Guinness, Guinness will taste like water.
Oh yeah.
That's why, you know, Paul, I got him into these kind of beers, and he used to drink Guinness all the time here.
Ah.
He no longer drinks it.
I hate Guinness now.
I really do this for
Sorry for Guinness.
Okay.
Alright, let's take a drink. roasted.
Oh yeah.
So you like this one?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's good.
So more so than the previous one?
I have to think about it.
Yeah. Anyways,
Where is
we will go over it at the end.
It's different to me. It's
How do
different.
you and this one
Very
get
different.
It's
45?
different.
It's hard to
You
compare.
know, like I don't want to like.
So it's actually technically more bitter than the first one we had, but it doesn't taste as bitter because of all the sweetness that's in there.
Because
Oh,
of the
yeah.
sweet.
It's a coffee.
Yeah, coffee. I get like a lot of like baker's chocolate, like unsweetened like dark chocolate.
Unsweetened.
Unsweetened.
You know, like baker's chocolate that they use for
Before
baking.
melting.
Yeah, before adding sugar. Yeah, that's what the flavor reminds me
You know,
of.
when I first tried this one on tap, I felt like it tastes like pencil or something.
Pencil?
Yeah, right.
Like
Like
wood? Or do you,
I don't
Wood,
know.
like
Just like
I've never ate a pencil, so.
I chew on the
it felt
pencil.
like, so I didn't like it.
Okay.
So it's quite different. I think.
I just really like this because even though it's a little thin, it still has that carbonation and everything to make it feel a little creamier.
Yeah, it does have a creamy mouthfeel to it. A little bit of chewiness.
Love the chewiness.
So it's easy to drink, even though it's some heavy flavors.
Yeah. There's some like caramel, butterscotch kind of
Caramel.
sweetness going on too.
I'm trying to picture when is this a perfect time to drink this?
I like this.
I'm thinking like winter. I'm seeing
Winter?
snow with this.
I'm seeing a winter like kind of like in a old bar with a bunch of friends and just
Okay.
you know.
Stone walls and a fireplace.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
No, I love that visualization. No, seriously.
That's a lot of times people ask me what my favorite beer is, and it's such a hard question to answer because like, where am I? What's the time? How many beers have I already had?
Exactly. It goes so deep. It's amazing.
Depends on the atmosphere and the second.
Yeah, the setting, the circumstances. And
Yeah.
I like the ball.
It makes so much sense.
you like this one?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Perfect. Stone walls, fireplace.
Sounds like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's what I feel like Game of Thrones right now.
This is
Before going into battle, they're like, all right, tonight we dine in hell.
it's a very nice beer.
A little bit sourness, the aftertaste.
You can see that a little bit.
So is it true that these darker beers, they have a lot of iron?
No, not necessarily. I don't.
I know the Irish, they believe that it gives the iron back into their. So women, for example, women will, when they're pregnant, after they'll literally drink a Guinness and some whatever in order to like
Replenish
replenish their iron.
Okay.
Yeah,
Huh.
Interesting.
I know. But, okay.
But I know that darker beers do have more like antioxidants,
I like that.
which is part of the reason why they age better than lighter beers.
I like antioxidants because I said I had a tooth thing.
Yeah.
And like a root canal therapy and antioxidants means less anti-inflammatory. So I know what beer to drink.
But that's one thing to keep in mind is so if you do take a picture of this one, for example, that you like, you just want to make sure always check the date.
The date?
Because if this is like this is what 2.5 months old, 3 months old, 3 months old, right? If it goes more than that, it's gonna change. All the hops and those bitterness that you love is gonna kind of disappear. And it's gonna become sweet.
And how about this kind of porter?
A porter like this, so a darker beers usually age a little bit better.
Yeah. So the darker and the higher alcohol too. So higher alcohol tends to age really well.
Yeah.
So they can actually even taste better with some age, right? As it mellows out, because it might be a little too strong and fresh, right?
Always?
No, it's like experiment. It's like an experimentation.
Yeah, and a lot of it's personal preference too. I mean, I met a guy last week, and I was having some beers with him. He says he actually likes old IPAs. He likes the
Old
way
IPA.
he likes the way the flavor tastes. I've never heard anyone say that before, but this particular person, and you can't tell him he's wrong because that's what he likes. So he said, "Oh, I like my IPAs about 1 year old."
1 year old.
Yeah.
Wow.
You should be able to get them cheap then.
Yeah, no.
That's how he likes them, maybe.
Yeah, that was his preference, so.
Interesting.
But it does change the flavor, and in his mind, the way the flavor changed, it was in a positive way. Most people think otherwise, but
You know what I was thinking? It was like, it's interesting how you're saying that everyone that drinks beer, they have a different flavor, but no one's wrong. Right?
Yeah.
It's just your preference. But in breaking, in b-boying, people literally fight over each other about what is right and what is wrong. Like they'll be like, no, that what you're saying right there, that's wrong. This is more important than that. You know, and they're fighting over this, and it's really crazy.
I mean, when it comes to judging and competitions, you have to have a set of guidelines, right?
Exactly.
And same with beer, but when it comes to just drinking it,
Yeah, exactly.
everyone has their own opinion.
Exactly.
And I imagine the same with b-boying. Like, it might not win a competition, but someone might really prefer that style.
So how is it judged? How is it judged in a beer competition? How would that be judged?
So it's judged by style. So a beer has to be in a certain style, and then there's a set of guidelines for that style, and then what he was talking about, you have appearance, you have aroma, you have flavor, you have mouthfeel, and then overall impression.
Okay, so
Which is kind of like the X factor.
So let me tell me what you think about this. Okay, so in breaking, what recently we've been doing, right, is that we've separated the different perspectives, the 5 perspectives, and the winner is the one who wins the majority of the 5 perspectives. So if there was a beer battle, one person brings their beer, another person brings their beer, you would have one person who specializes in one specific criteria, another one in another one, and they judge only according to their criteria, because that's what they like the best, right? That's what they know the best, like, that's what they prefer. So one person will say, this beer, I like, according to my criteria and what I like, this beer is better. And then another person will say, well, according to what I like, this one is better. And then another will say, according to this one, this is better. Like that. Would that work?
Probably not, because, and I don't know how it is in b-boying, but in beer, they're weighted differently. So flavor gets a lot more points than appearance. So I can't remember the official, I think appearance gets maybe 3 total points, where flavor gets something along the lines of 35. So it's not weighted nearly the same. I don't know if all those different elements are weighted the same.
This is why in breaking it's weighted the same, because this is why too many people are fighting over it.
Because I wouldn't want to be the beer judge who only got to judge appearance, because that would be pretty boring.
Everything looks the same.
You can only give up the 3 points. And
It's hard for me to break it down into parts personally. Like for me, I have an overall idea. Like as a whole, this beer may be imperfect, but I gravitate towards it because of how it comes together.
And that's where that last category, the overall impressions, you can kind of say, well, maybe it didn't have the strongest aroma, that it didn't look that great, but there was just something about it. I see.
So one of the things I saw online when I was looking you up is you're trying to find the perfect judging system.
Not a perfect judging system, because there would be no such thing as a perfect judging system, I think. But something that's fair, right? That's fair, where people can say, this is why someone won or lost. So it'd be equivalent to, like, let's just say you have a beer competition. You just find random 3 people who make beer, and then they just say, I like this one, and that's it. There's no criteria, no nothing. That's what's actually going on in the scene right now. And so people are fighting over it, saying, well, I'm the #1 beer drinker in the world, so I should be the judge, because in the culture, the judges make the most money out of everybody. It's kind of really weird. Yeah, it's really, really crazy. But judges make the most money, because you're treated like a king. You sit down on the throne. Everyone's fate is in your hands. You get paid like a hefty sum of money. You do one little showcase, and so everyone wants to be a judge, right?
So that's where the problem is. You should not want to be the judge, and you're forced to judge.
Exactly.
Because that's what I always thought. Because when I look at the judges, usually it's like actual b-boys or people doing it. I thought it's like a rotating thing where you have to do it.
No, it's not. So this is the problem in the b-boy culture, is the fact that, like, if you were a beer drinker, you're just like, the only way for me to make good money is to be a judge for beer.
That's crazy.
That'd be really crazy, right? But that's the situation.
Because in most beer judging competitions, they're volunteers. And maybe they get some free beer out of it.
Exactly.
So do you do any judging?
Well, that is my main job, actually. It's kind of funny how that's the main thing that I make, by appearances in different cities around the world. But I think that it's ridiculous, right? Like, even though I love judging, I think it's fun, but money should come from actual battling it, like that, rather than just be sitting down and saying I like this guy or that guy.
Right.
You know.
And it sounded like you were doing what I did see recently was like you were doing like these analysis of the Red Bull.
Yeah,
This one because it was so controversial, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're trying to like get people to see the different perspectives.
Exactly. So it'd be like, you know, like people fighting over a beer saying, well, obviously this beer is better because it tastes better, right? And I'm saying, wait, there's different elements, right? There's presentation, there's lacing, right? Like, you know, and not saying which one is more important, but just saying that these are the different elements why this guy or that guy may have chosen this beer, right? Because of these things, you know, like the aroma and sweetness and whatever.
I could already tell which one I'm just not like. This is the middle.
Yeah, see. I can tell you like them pretty much
No, I
all.
was thirsty.
I like this one first and I like the second one. And
I really like this, but I feel like it's a kind of beer you can drink slow. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And also for this weather, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're going thicker now.
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah,
It's cool.
it's perfect.
I'm down for
Better
whatever.
for big beer.
Any final thoughts?
I think they're all solid beers. I'm enjoying the porter the most right now, just because it's a style I haven't had for a while. It's summertime, so I've been drinking more light beers, and this tastes really good. But they're all. I mean, I love Founders. I think they're a great brewery. It was a good choice because they make many diverse beers.
Denver's beers, for sure. And they have their own style, I feel like. Definitely tastes more cabiny, if that's a thing. You know what I mean? Like, it tastes the Midwest.
Even
you
the
know?
look is cabiny.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Alright, well, why don't we go on break?
Okay, sounds good.
Break.
When's the next like big competition?
The next big one that I'm participating in, or the one that I'm
Well,
like,
like-
judging.
That we should be on the lookout for.
I'm judging. Actually, I'm judging. I judge probably 3 or 4 times a month in a different city. But the big ones that I'm judging next is it's called Silverback Open. It's in America. It's going to be in October, and then Freestyle Session World Finals is in November. Those are the really big ones in America. So they invited me to judge this year, which I'm very excited about.
Cool.
Because
And-
you make more money judging than you do competing. So.
Gotta make a living.
Yeah.
I am
Where
curious.
can I see it?
Right now it's all on YouTube, but we're
YouTube.
working on to make something in the future where you can just turn on the TV and you can follow
Yeah.
your favorite, your city or you know wherever you're from.
Where's the next Red Bull BC one being held?
It's gonna be in Japan.
Which city?
I forgot the name. It's not Tokyo. It's not Osaka. It's not Kyoto. It starts with an H. I don't remember.
And then when is the R16 usually?
R16 is usually every July, and then it turns into September. But now it's gonna be in December. But it's moved to Taiwan because the Korean government stopped funding R16.
Why?
There's various reasons, but I think it's because Korean government usually doesn't support an event more than 4 years, and it's been 10 years.
Oh.
So they probably said, okay, you know what, you need to support yourself, and we're gonna stop supporting you. So I don't really blame them at all. And another reason is because the Olympics is coming to Korea, so I'm pretty sure they're kind of like holding on to funds because they're gonna just pay for the Winter Olympics. That's what I think.
Alright.
Alright, so
Thank you.
right off the bat, it looks brown.
Yeah. This is the style that Namkyung's gonna hate. Because she just
No,
said she hates
hates.
malty.
I'm
So malting is gonna be much more sweet.
Okay.
Alright.
So this one's brownish, very brown.
Yeah.
I like sweet,
Very brown.
but I don't like the sweetness of beer. Why is that?
Color.
A little bit of red color in there too.
Like ruby-ish.
Yep.
Dark.
And then fruit.
Almost no visible bubbles.
Sure. But you know, it's just bit stronger, you know?
Yeah.
And so the style for this is a Scotch ale.
Scotch ale. Where's the Scotch ale?
It's a malty style ale, well, from Scotland.
From
and
Scotland.
it typically has some smoked malt in it, a small amount of smoked malt.
Smoked malt.
Yeah.
So I can feel the smoky flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, they use peat smoked malt. And what's interesting about how some of the styles came about is usually they're focused on the ingredients that come from that region. So Scotland used to, and they still do grow malt, so they made malty style beers, where places like England and Czech Republic where they grow hops, that's where some of the hoppy style beers come from. So it's like
Noble.
what was more available is what they focused on.
That makes sense.
So this is 8.5%?
Yeah.
So that's from
Strong beer.
I mean, I smell
Just
a lot
1.5.
of coffee, brown sugar,
Get some like dark fruit too, like
Yeah, like
fig or
raisins.
raisins.
brown sugar.
Brown sugar raisin. That's a perfect example.
Brown beer.
Brown sugar raisin. Brown sugar raisin beer.
Smells beautiful.
Get maybe a touch of hops too. There's a little,
For sure.
yeah, a hint of floral or
Can I ask what is hops?
hops. It's
Hops.
a flower from a plant. They look kind of like pine cones. They're small and green, and they're in every beer. Technically, it's not a beer unless it has hops in it.
Okay.
And it gives the beer the bitterness and also adds flavor and aroma, and happens to be a natural preservative as well. So it can help kill any bacteria that might be present.
So the hops can be, they can smell like fruits, like citrus. Some of them smell like dank, resinous marijuana. Right? So,
Okay.
Yeah.
smell like a lot.
Could be.
Yeah, they can be floral, they can be spicy or piney, depending on the type of hop and where they're grown.
I'm gonna dig in. I do love this beer. And this is my favorite from the year round line.
Yep.
A little bit of bitterness.
Yeah, a little bitterness. I would call this almost heavy bodied. It's pretty thick. It's got some chewiness.
For sure.
Kind of that mouth coating kind of feeling.
Yeah,
The
right.
thickest so far.
Right.
I think it's very sweet.
It's definitely sweet.
It's sweet
It's so rich and
and the bitterness at last.
I'm trying to think, when would this be perfect?
I like that.
When would this be?
Any other flavors though? Interesting flavors?
I get a little bit of the smoke. It's not strong, but if you're looking for it, I get a touch of that smoky character.
Touch of that peanut, yeah.
It's because of the Scotch ale.
I think they probably
They're
use
finding a-
malt that was smoked
Smoked
with peat.
with
Yeah.
peat.
I do love the peaty whiskey, so.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't really like the peats.
No, I like smoky Scotch.
Smoky Scotch.
Do you like the scotch, the whiskeys?
Yes,
But do you
Yeah.
like the
very
peaty one?
much.
The
For
ones that smell
sure.
like
Actually, I just only recently kind of got into whiskey, so I'm starting like really slow because I'm scared that if I buy like a really good whiskey, then it'll make all the cheap whiskeys taste like crap.
you're afraid to get into good whiskey.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
too
yeah.
expensive.
So I'm
Yeah,
just
right,
kind of
right,
going
that's
really
right.
slow. So just
Yeah.
I'm right now around Jack Daniels and Johnny Walker Black. You
Yeah.
know?
Okay.
So those are like bourbon style,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Well,
also can be
sweet.
smoky too, but sweet. Yeah.
I started this sweet whiskey, this sweet one. Peatness is too strong for me. My nose is quite. What's it?
burns.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Burns your nose.
Yeah, burns your nose.
But speaking of whiskey, you know, it does have a little bit of that kind of whiskey character to it. I think it's from that underlying sweetness
Yeah.
and smokiness.
Yeah, I'm picturing this. I feel like I'm picturing this in a more upper class kind of place.
That old bar, but a little bit.
Like a nice bar,
A
you
nice
know,
bar.
like a nice more with a white bar.
where they tie sweaters around there.
Yeah, yeah, like a country club
Yeah.
beer.
See, for me, I think more of a season. Like this is like fall for me when it's starting to get cold out at night.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what it reminds me of, more like a fall beer. Not quite winter, but when it's starting to get chilly and maybe a campfire, bonfire.
I picture like on the golf course kind of beer.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's what I picture. I don't know, I could be wrong. But this is if I was on a golf course, this is the kind of beer I'd want to drink.
But it definitely has a lot of fruitiness to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
A
nice.
lot of those like dark fruits are what they call stone fruits and cherry.
Oh yeah.
Plum.
It's a little bit tricky. I can feel the brown sugar or kind of thing, but much easier to get some fruitiness and sweetness from the fruit.
Exactly. So if it was just sweet, it would be kind of you can't keep drinking.
Yeah, right.
That fruitiness kind of keeps you coming back in.
And I sense the alcohol too. Like you can feel it kind of warm as you take a few sips.
But at the same time, it's not boozy, right?
No, it's not hot
boozy.
and boozy, but
I mean,
it's
but
warming.
I can feel my organ.
Yeah.
So they are bringing. I've heard from this company that the company that brings founders in that they will be bringing backwoods basters sometime in October or September. So imagine this aged in bourbon barrels. So that's what the backwoods bastard is.
October is a good season for this beer, I think. Autumn.
Yeah, and I think they're planning to bring the breakfast stout as well, which is their most famous beer.
Why are you swirling it like that?
Yeah, just have it.
Have it?
Just
But they say it releases some of the aroma too.
Oh yeah, it does.
But also as it warms up, you know. So it was really cold at the beginning. Ooh.
Oh, the parch beer.
So now, like, you know, it looks beautiful. It looks more of that ruby red.
Yeah.
Before it was like.
What?
brown.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The things you learn.
So,
But that's another thing to consider when drinking beer is the warmer it is, the more flavor you can taste.
Yeah.
Which is why bad beer is usually
Better
served
cold.
ice cold. Yeah, because you don't want to taste those flavors as it gets.
It makes
Because
sense.
it's gonna taste like this.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. It does taste like piss.
Yeah.
But especially with maltier beers, it tends to bring out some flavors that you might not taste if it's ice cold.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
okay. So perfect temperature.
It's preferential, but like something like this, I would say around 10°C would probably be a nice temperature. Yeah. And some beers I even like, at room temperature. Well, this room's really warm, so maybe not this room temperature, but
But nice during
Yeah.
fall.
yeah.
So another question for Mr. Dyzee, right?
It was awesome.
So I don't know, when I look at especially the b-boy competitions and stuff,
Yeah.
it seems like the United States is kind of weak in some regards. The scene is it dying there?
No, it's not. It's not dying. It actually, it's. I don't know how we compare this to beer drinking, but it'd be like a country where beer is so popular and everyone drinks it, but you go to another country and it may not be so on TV and so big, but they really know how to enjoy the beer.
They're insane. They're really into it.
Yes.
Okay.
So in America, it might be on TV, it might not be, but when you go and you see a battle, man, they really enjoy it. It's so, it's not. They're not pretending. They're doing it
So a lot
for
of
real.
passion there.
The passion. They're going crazy. Everyone's just screaming. If someone does something, it doesn't matter if it's good. They're like and they're just getting rowdy, Whereas if you go to another country where it's so popular, everyone treats it like golf, where they're just clapping very nice. And it's weird. It's so strange. You're like, that's not what you're supposed to do. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to react. You're supposed to go It's kind of like going to a boxing match, watching an amazing UFC fight, and everyone just cheering very nice form.
Yeah.
Very nice form. It's like you're supposed to go crazy. It's part of the game.
Yes.
So America still has that.
Okay. What particular country do you feel excited to go to, especially in terms of the b-boy scene?
I like third world countries.
Is it just-
Like Philippines, Nepal,
What
Like-
for?
because their passion is so strong. So they go nuts when they battle. They go crazy, and they're just it almost feels like a fight, but at the end, they can after it's done, they'll shake hands and give each other a hug. You know, it's really awesome how much it's really making a difference in other countries when you see these battles happen. Korea's, of course, amazing. I love Korea. It just doesn't have that much of a cipher culture, meaning it doesn't have much of a, like, you can't just go to a party and see people dancing. You don't see that here. But it's on such a high level here that each group has their own studio where only they can go to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when they go to a competition and they're on the big stage where there's a lot of pressure, they perform to the highest degree. So it's not, Korea to me is still the best in that sense.
So you were talking about how there's like different scenes in different cities and countries.
Yeah.
Is there any like area that's kind of revolutionizing breaking or like bringing a new element to it, kind of like changing the game a little bit?
Every country kind of brings their own thing, right? So America has their own thing, which is just the way they conversate and they battle, which a lot of people might not see that, but it's just the culture is different. But Russia is very creative. You wouldn't think so, but they're very creative. Japan is very creative. They can do everything amazing, except they have no confidence. And that's the biggest part of breaking is confidence.
Yeah.
Right? Where America, they might not have the biggest skills, but they have the biggest confidence, and that's why they are so amazing at battling. But Korea, their perfection, their teamwork and everything is so at a high level that they always win everything. They usually win everything.
I mean, Korea is known for mostly power moves as well.
Just everything.
Everything.
Just their execution is just flawless. They never make a mistake.
You guys should just YouTube as soon as you get home. Morning of Owl.
Morning of Owl.
I mean,
I taught them. I actually trained them. Yeah.
That's so great. Because like you just
Morning
want
of
Owl.
Morning of
That's
Owl.
the
Owl.
label.
Yeah.
It's the name of the team. Yeah. Morning of Owl.
Breaking.
They're just.
They're.
Who cares if they're b-boying or anything? Just in terms of dance, just
Yeah.
the way that they express themselves, and each member is kind of like different.
Yeah.
They have their unique style,
Oh,
and it
it's
just comes
like
together.
art.
Yeah.
Morning of Owl,
You guys-
Jinjo crew. I mean, Drift. I mean, all the Korean crews are just. They're just insane. They work. You know why? It's because of the culture here. How they have a. You know, the oldest is the hyung, the big hyung, and then everyone else listens to this person.
Mm-hmm.
So they get a lot more done as a crew because you know they have some
One
hierarchy,
person.
right? They have a hierarchy.
Mm.
Where in America, if you're like, hey, let's work on a routine, everyone's like, I don't want to do that. I'm tired.
Everyone's equal.
Yeah.
And I can see that.
So that's why Korea is and Japan are like such a high level because they have that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, is a Battle of the Year still big?
Of course, it's still huge.
Still.
It's still big.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not in the scene because the scene they don't like doing shows too much. Everyone just wants to battle, but in Germany, it's huge. Still 15,000 people watching, and it's always a great show. Yeah,
In Germany.
yeah, it's in Germany.
So
It's
it's
the
one
longest
battle.
running event since 1992 or something like that.
Interesting. Now, do you watch? Have you ever watched that show, Dancing Man?
Oh, in Korea,
Yeah.
I didn't get to see it, but I know like a lot of people that were on the show.
Yeah, because a couple b-boys.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And one of the questions I did want to ask is, each one of those power moves, all that stuff. How long does it usually take to train for that?
Oh, it can take years, I think. Like it takes years.
So just to learn a new move, you're doing it for like a year or two.
Yeah. It takes a long time. For those special techniques, those big moves, it takes like a long time. And some people get it faster, but the worst thing about them is that one little injury or one little small thing, you can lose that move and you work so hard for. So a lot of the moves that I created, I created the move, I was the best at the move, but through injuries I lost it, and there's other people now who can do it better than me, right? So it's kind of like, oh, okay, you can have it.
So you're still b-boying. So how many hours are you dedicating to the dance itself, like practicing at this stage in your career?
Well, now I want to do more. I want to do more because it's a mentality. B-boying is kind of a mentality where it's just searching for that perfect battle where you just go against someone, you take them out, and it's kind of like a vagabond lifestyle. I want to go here, but I don't get to practice as much anymore ever since getting married, having responsibilities and all these kind of things. So I just do like about 3 hours 4 times a week around that.
4 times a week. What about like the people who are like competing at the highest level?
Oh, Koreans 6 hours every day, 6 days a week, 6 hours 6 days a week. Yeah. They really go for it. It's amazing.
My last question to you: because you know you said that judging is where the money's at and all that, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just curious. Let's say, you know, who are the b-boys that most people know? It's like Hong10, Lee,
Mm-hmm.
like the Red Bull
Yeah.
DC All-Stars, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, you don't have to answer this question, but do you know how much they are pulling in on a yearly?
Yeah, let me just say that, like in skateboarding, you know, skateboarding just went to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a really huge
I
deal.
heard that.
2020, they're going to the
Wow.
Olympics. You look at the highest ranked people in the street league, and you can check out their net worth. They're worth $6 million, you know, millions of dollars. Like 15-year-old kids, 20-year-old
Skaters,
kids,
you know.
skaters,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're making millions.
Yeah.
I think even our top people who are equivalents to those are not making anywhere close to that at all. Way lower, not driving amazing cars like Lamborghinis like them. It's a really sad state because we have so many fans and such a big culture, it's such a big thing all around the world, but we never thought about doing business right. You know, we never really thought about that until now. So we're working on that now, and in a few years you'll see the first real leagues happening. So yeah, we're waiting for that to happen before we can build fans and then make that kind of living that we want to live.
So for the most part, I mean, most b-boys are struggling.
Yeah, yeah. It's called the b-boy hustle. The b-boy hustle. It's kind of sad.
But what's kind of weird is though that even though if it was that tough, you would see a lot more guys kind of like quitting. But if
There is a
it's
lot.
like-
No, there is a lot of people quitting. All the legends have quit. Have kind of quit. They still come around just to judge, you know. But they're doing other things now. They're doing, and it's really sad, you know. But the people who are in it now, they have more chance. Like if you're sponsored by Red Bull, you can make like a decent salary, not a big one, not enough to put like 5 kids into the top universities or nothing. But we look at we're looking at skating. How skating is so big now. UFC,
It's very
UFC.
similar to street
Yeah, it's a street.
subculture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Street subculture. We have everything that they have. We have music, but we just don't think about building fans and doing business the right way. So now we're starting to work on that now.
Yeah, if there was like an actual competition that you can look forward to, like even Red Bull BC One, like I watch those highlights whenever I can. So.
Yeah.
So is there sponsorship and like self-marketing, is that fairly common now for people trying to supplement income they make from competitions and otherwise?
Well, competitions is like the problem with that is that you have to win in order to make money.
Right.
But just recently, there's been a little bit more sponsors that have come in that pay you a monthly salary to represent Monster, Red Bull, you know, Burn.
Like,
Energy.
is there like clothing companies too that are kind of affiliating themselves with the scene?
They do, but at this point, they don't actually give money,
Okay.
right? They just kind of give you the clothes,
Mhm.
which is kind of sad. Like, you know, it's kind of sad. It's kind of wrong, you know, because in skating and everything else, you get money for it. But here, they're just like, here, just have free clothes. And the big boys are like, sure.
Thank you so much.
Sure, okay, I'll wear all your clothes for free. Yeah, it's terrible. But we're working on that. We're working on
Yeah.
changing these things. Yeah.
I see.
So pretty soon.
So your final thoughts? Do you prefer this or the porter?
This or the which one?
Porter, the dark one that we had last.
I like the porter, dark glass better. This is really good too.
Yeah, I prefer the porter.
Yeah.
This is a nice beer, but this is the kind of beer if I'm only gonna have like one, maybe
Yeah.
two, sip on it for a while.
I
'Cause
agree.
it's a little bit sweet. It's really rich. It's high in alcohol. It tastes really nice, but it's not something I would drink very many of.
Yeah, definitely not.
Namkyung's glass speaks for itself.
She wants another one.
Oh, what do you think?
I think it's really good.
Really nice.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to the world famous, the one that everyone's been waiting for. By the way, once again, thank you to Changbin for giving us 2 of these for free. He donated to the show. Now this is KBS. This is basically they took their founder's breakfast out and they aged it for a year in bourbon barrels in a cave.
In a cave.
Yeah, that's I think
In
that's
a
for-
cave.
to make it sound cool, but they did it. They did it in a cave, right? And then
Makes
they
sense.
released it.
Well, that's originally where they did a lot of aging for beers was in caves pre-refrigeration because it's always cold in a cave.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they were just trying to touch in on that. Yeah.
Okay. So this is Kentucky breakfast stout. I don't want
So
12.5%.
basically, that is Kentucky bourbon stuff.
No, breakfast stout.
Oh,
So their
breakfast
founder's
stout.
breakfast stout, they barrel aged it.
Oh, okay.
Right. So So their most famous beer, they barrel aged it.
He's got his glass ready.
Is that Imperial Stout?
This is Imperial Stout.
Imperial
Yes.
Stout.
With
There's
coffee.
12,
12.5.
12.5.
12.5, and it's with coffee and chocolate. Yes.
Coffee and chocolate.
So
Wow.
actual coffee and
Yeah, so
chocolate.
not just flavors of coffee and chocolate from the malt, but actual coffee and chocolate.
Oh, not the artificial, right?
Not artificial. And this is also another beer that has a lot of controversy of when you should drink it, right? There's some people who say you should drink it fresh. There's
Mhm.
other people who like it after a year. There's some people who like it 6 months.
Well, that's kind of like
6 months.
kimchi.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
depends.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
In the cave, of course.
Yeah, you lose some flavors, but you gain some
Yeah,
flavors.
yeah. I like my kimchi really old, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sourness.
Yeah, I like that.
A lot of sourness.
Yeah,
But another interesting thing you can do in beer tasting is called a vertical tasting. So say you have the
Mhm.
KBS and you can taste one from this year, you can taste one that's 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, you know, all at the same time to see how the flavor changes over time and maybe which one you prefer.
This is
I wish
a
I did that with
vertical.
kimchi.
Yeah, they call it a vertical tasting. And a lot of people sell their beers and they'll have, you know, a closet full or somewhere in their basement dedicated to aging beers because they like the way that some beers taste over time. I've never been able to do that because I like to drink the beer, so I'll have people over and be like, oh, I got this special beer I've been holding on to, and maybe it'll last like 2 or 3
It's
months.
impossible to age beers because I always drink them.
Yeah, I get friends over and I get excited to try it, and
Exactly.
I'll drink all of
I
it.
really want to get more deeper into this beer tasting and
You're DC and judge.
everything.
Well, you're just trying a lot of different types. One thing is, you know what's funny is that some person watching the show right now, they're like, freaking Dyzee, he's a lucky bastard for drinking this KBS.
Really?
Because they never drank it before.
Oh yeah?
And it's a highly sought after beer.
Yeah, I've never
So
heard
someone's
this one.
jealous of you right now.
Oh wow.
There you go, cheers.
I
guys.
feel very
Yeah, cheers.
blessed actually.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Alright.
Wow.
Cheers,
Paul
Paul.
looks the happiest right now.
Wait, there's no smell.
You don't smell that?
Yeah,
It smells good.
I don't smell anything. How come? Is there
Sounds
something
very-
wrong?
It smells.
No, I don't actually smell much of it.
It's not really
It
strong
smells
aroma.
so strong.
Really?
I mean,
It smells sweet.
I don't smell anything.
Smells
Is it because I drank too much
extremely
other
sweet.
beers?
I just smell chalky chocolate. That's
yeah,
And
exactly.
there's definitely part of that, like from other beers, you kind of get a little
Very
bit of palate
sweet
fatigue.
chocolate.
Yeah.
So just remember, like right now, if we drink this first, like
Then
there's
I
only
would
beers,
smell
like
it.
we would be like
Yeah.
going crazy, but we
It's
just
also a
had-
little bit cold, so you know, that's part of the reason.
It's sweet, dark chocolate.
Yeah, no smell much.
It looks definitely like
Like,
coffee.
Yeah.
It looks like cold coffee.
It's
Cold
very black. I'm not
Black.
really.
Very
Maybe on the
black
very
coffee.
bottom of the glass, I'm getting a little bit
so
of
I
black.
smell a little
bright
bright,
color.
but let's see. I'm just gonna taste it.
I don't smell anything. I'm scared.
Mm. That's pretty delicious. A little boozy though.
Oh my gosh. It's like really like coffee.
With
It's a
bourbon
coffee
in it.
beer. Wow.
Vanilla coffee.
Yeah, I taste a lot of vanilla, chocolate.
I think vanilla coffee.
It's really boozy.
But it's a well blended flavor because nothing to me stands out like as one component. I'm getting like the coffee and the chocolate and the vanilla and the bourbon kind of coming and going.
Yeah.
I think it's very intense.
It's a very strong flavor, yeah, but
Yeah.
I think it's well balanced or well blended.
It's interesting because I don't know how to feel about it because I never drank beer like this before.
And this is your first barrel aged beer, right? I mean, this is right now the biggest trend.
You also, I mean,
I don't have to think.
Have you guys started barrel aging?
Oh yeah, actually we did Korea's first barrel aging program for production brewery.
I see, I see.
So we did a stout aged in bourbon barrels.
so mocha was the best.
The mocha stout was the first production beer
Production
in Korea.
beer in
Yeah,
Korea.
homebrewers did it on a very small
Yeah,
scale.
I know, but you know.
And we have a new barrel aged beer coming out
Okay, I smell it now.
this fall. It's a Belgian style double that was aged in Pinot Noir barrels from the Napa Valley.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I think that's what happened. Like,
What is the good point of the Pinot Noir barrel for the people?
Well, it depends on what flavors and aromas you're trying to get out. So we chose a Belgian double because it has some of those fruity flavors like cherry and raisin and plum. So we
Dark
thought it would work
chocolate
well with
truffle
Pinot
juice.
Noir because of the grape and the wine. You get some cherry, so there's some matching flavors.
So So interesting.
Probably just it's dark chocolate truffle juice.
Yeah.
No, I actually think it's so much better than
That's
last time
nice.
I had it.
Mm.
It's really rich. I mean, this last one, the
Yeah,
Dirty
really
Bastard,
rich.
was a full body beer, but this one's like thick.
This is super thick.
Yeah.
The reason I like it better right now is I had this pretty fresh this year,
Yeah, I
and
think
it
so.
was a little bit too much coffee for me. Like an acrid coffee. I call it a camping type of coffee.
Or like almost like a burnt coffee. Or,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's kind of fallen off a little bit because it's been about like 6 months or whatever it is.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, so this
to compare with
was bottled.
I can't picture where I would drink this.
This was bottled in February, but it was aged in a barrel for at least 1 year before that. So
12.4% it says.
it.
this beer was actually brewed almost 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
great. And you could age this probably for another
Oh yeah.
many years.
So where would you drink this one?
You know.
That's what I was trying to picture. I feel like camping in the morning.
I would wake up to it.
Like waking up in the
I
morning.
mean, they do call it breakfast
Breakfast,
stout, yeah.
coffee.
Yeah.
Because of the coffee, yeah.
Yeah,
And kind of like,
that's
okay,
cool.
good morning, and then like, all right,
Let's go.
that's, you know.
I'm thinking
It's like-
somewhere like heaven.
Maybe on your deathbed.
Yeah.
This is pretty delicious right now.
So thick.
So every other beer so far is kind of easy to get, even in America, and this last one is a specialty, so it comes out once a year.
Even in the
and
States.
It's hard to like actually get it. So even like where I'm from, California,
Yeah.
if this comes out, then you got to go to the bottle store, particular bottle stores, and they'll limit you to like one or two. So you
One,
can
two
only buy
bottles?
one or two. Yeah.
1 2 bottles. Wow.
Because it's limited. Even in America, it's hard. I mean, it's getting easier now, especially with this, but.
We were talking about, how interesting it is when you start looking deeper into subcultures. So in the craft beer subculture,
Yeah, okay.
when breweries put out specialty beers like this, there's people that'll actually like wait in line for hours
Yeah.
to get 1 or 2 bottles of it.
Think Jordans. So there's people actually who wait the night before for like a release of beer.
Camp out.
So this would be equivalent to like this guy in Breaking called Cloud,
Okay.
Boy Cloud. He is so amazing, but he just doesn't come around the scene a lot. But when he does, you're like everyone's like, oh my gosh, there he is.
It's rare. And,
Very rare, very hard to see this guy around. And yeah, it's kind of like that.
Do you know why he's not more involved? He's just not.
He lives in Hollywood, and he's like directing a lot of videos and dance things and just a lot of things. He's just really sought out in Hollywood. So he was the main dancer for Madonna,
Okay.
and he does short films and videos. So he still breaks because he's still part of the culture, but to see him around the scene, it's rare. It's rare.
He did win BC, right?
He never won BC. When
Yeah,
he came second,
runner-up.
he got runner up. So he's like a guy everyone wants to see him dance. This is the cloud of
Beers.
This is what I would describe as a dangerous beer because it's really high in alcohol, but it's just so delicious. You want to keep drinking more of it, and the next thing you know,
Like
you're
coffee.
But that means it's your first time, so
Yeah, this is my first.
how do you?
So this is really good, but you know what? I didn't have any. I mean, not any. I didn't have many experiences for the imperial stouts.
Mhm.
But recently, I just simply I got
BCBS.
yeah, exactly BCBS and then this kind of thing. So I just started to like imperial stouts. So I think it is quite the good thing of the imperial stout is interesting. I mean, I can feel really variety of the flavor, variety of the aroma, and then very creative.
Great, yeah.
Compared to IPA.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion. So yeah, it's a very interesting style of beer. I think. Oh, this is too high alcohol. I can feel the high alcohol,
It is pretty
but
weird.
it is really tasty. I can't really feel the alcohol, not on
Yeah.
the inside. But I can't really feel the alcohol. So I agree with it. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Dangerous beer.
Now I smell a lot of booze.
It's a little warmer, and you have a little room in the glass
Yeah.
to swirl around.
You know what? I think we like something. Maybe in the first time we like something, we used to smell it, we used to taste it, like 뭐라 그러지? 익숙한 익숙한 거를 좋아한다고 생각해요. 근데 이거는 같은 경우 내가 익숙한 커피 or chocolate, really dark, sweet chocolate 그런 게 느껴지니까 좋아할 수밖에 없는 것 같아요.
So she can't help but like it because it's just good flavors. That we're so used to coffee.
So you're talking about like something where maybe the first time you have it you don't like it, and then the more you try it, the more you like it. Is that what you mean?
Not exactly.
Okay.
She basically meant that she can't help but like this because all the flavors are so. I mean, chocolate's good.
So,
Okay. How can you not?
Yeah,
How can you not
exactly.
like it?
I know that flavor. I know that
Yeah.
you know I used to it. So I can't help it but like it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's really good. I do have a question for you, Dyzee. This was always going to be my final question. So right now we just had a lineup of founders, right? They're a brewery. They put together their team of beers to impress the world with, right? To impress you with. Up till now you've been a little vague. I need you to name some names. I need you to come up with your b-boy crew, like your all-star b-boy crew, and it can be to whatever criteria. You don't have to explain. You just have to say, you know. These are the dudes that they form my. And this might get you into trouble, so you better.
Well, well, the funny thing is, I'm already part of this group called Seven Commandoz, right? So my original crew is Supernaturals. That's my family crew until I die. But since moving to Korea, I'm part of Seven Commandoz. And Seven Commandoz consist of the top 7. Well, actually, we only have 6 members now, but the top 6 style b-boys in the world. You know, and we've come together as an alliance. So that's me, Hong10와 Wing and Skim from Jinjo, and they're the top crew in the world. We have Ronnie from the States. He's part of the super crew in Jabberwockies, have you heard of him? And then we have Differ, and he was from TIP, and he's just the Korean guy. And yeah, so to me, we're like these bottles here. We're the best all-star crew to me. I mean, in my
honestly, you guys made a separate crew like that.
It's more of like an alliance, not a crew, because each one of us are part of a different crew, and all our crews mean more to us than this alliance. This alliance is more to say, hey, we're coming together. The thing about us is that each guy is okay in the world. Like you have this groups of people that come together, and they're kind of like the mob mentality. Oh, we're all punks and we're all just want to party and whatever, and we make a crew and we're all good, but we're professional, you know. We don't want to, we still like to have fun, but we want to be serious about our art and our dance and our love and our passion. So we all came together, and when we battle, we usually win.
Man, you guys are missing my favorite b-boy though.
Who?
Rockstrike.
Rockstrike, yeah. Rockstrike.
I do love.
He's from my generation, amazing b-boy.
Why do you like the b-boy?
No, but like I'm always attracted to like dance. I mean, not the fact that I dance, I can't dance shit, but I'm always attracted to it because it's like this physical sport where it's a little bit different for me because, first of all, physical things like sports, it always amazes me because, for example, I always think like, Kim Yeona, is she happy right now? Because at such a young age, she spent 20 years doing one thing, and like literally she lives for that rush, and now that's all gone. You know, you must be like Michael Jordan, who's like doing crazy, like he tries to get high scores on video games because he's that competitive, right? He's like, he can't go to sleep that night. I'm sure he golfs. That's how he probably does his thing. But with b-boying, it's a little bit different because I'm attracted to it because they're not making millions of dollars. It's like something where, dude, you really have to love this thing in order to do it past 30, right? It's okay to do it when you're younger. It's cool. You know, in your 20s, it's cool. But as you get older and all that, how do you maintain and how do you continue this kind of art form? And then I was always into hip hop, so it's kind of linked to that. And I just think what they do is beautiful. It's just amazing, right? And everyone has their own little style and flavor. So like Rockstrike, I especially like him because I just feel like most people wouldn't like him because he doesn't do crazy,
flashy, crazy moves.
He just freezes and he's just like never makes a mistake.
Very
He's
clean,
tight.
he's perfect, yeah.
You know, I'm into film, and I like minimalist film. You know, films that nothing happens.
Yeah, that's why I
But it's beautiful.
asked you.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you why do you like the B-boy because there's quite a semblance, and so it's more like philosophical.
To a certain degree, like the fact that they express themselves and they do things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I love Rockstrike. He's like a minimalist.
Oh.
He does so much with so
So
little, right?
Rockstrike is part of this super group called Squadron, and we're 7 Commandos, and this is like a huge battle. If we ever had 7 Commandos versus Squadron, that would make headlines in the whole world. Maybe I'll try to one day make this happen. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Another thing though, you grew up when there was no YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's like the one thing I did want to ask you is you just were coming up with some random ass shit. Like there was no precedence. Like I feel like today's b-boys, it's like you look at that, and you can build on it, right? You can just like do something like that. But for you, you're just like
There's nothing.
you just knew the guy in your hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was crazy because I started, like I said, in 1994, and in Canada at that time, in the late 80s, there was these mafias who controlled like the underground scene. Not breaking, but just there was these mafias, and in one year they all died in 1 year. The leaders all died within 1 year. So what happened in the 90s is there was a huge influx of street gangs that took over the whole city, right?
So every year, new era.
So there was like so many gangs. It was so scary. But the weird thing is that every gang had maybe 1 or 2 guys who braked. Right? And so this is how I got introduced into breaking, because when I was young, you had to join a gang. Otherwise, it's either you stay home or you join a gang. Those are the only 2 things that you can do. Because if you go out, someone's gonna try to punk you, and unless you say, "Hey, I'm from this group," then no one will respect you, right? So all these b-boys from different gangs would battle each other in a party, and that became supernaturals. That became Bag of Tricks, and that became all these. And so that's how we started. It was really weird how we started from such a small, really dangerous culture, but how it grew to such a global phenomenon, right? It's probably the biggest underground phenomenon in the world, to be honest. As there's so many other street cultures, but this one's really big, but just underground.
Am I right to say that you were known for your threading?
Yeah, I have 2 styles I'm known for. Is my footwork is like a really spinning footwork kind of style, and then threading is another technique that I'm known for. Threading, where things are going in. And,
Your legs, right?
My legs and my arms and whatever. Yeah. So I'm known for those 2 things. So that's why I'm different from everybody else, because I have these. But they're actually Toronto styles. Yeah.
And so you just were kind of perfecting that.
Yeah.
Creative things with that back in the day.
Yeah, been perfecting it trying to perfect it as our weapon. Yeah.
Okay, I can see the people in your
Where's the future of b-boying going though? Like what b-boys do we need to look to be like, that's like the new school?
There is no new school at the moment, because the way it is it's all focused on one-on-one kind of things. It's kind of like, what's the new beer to look out for? Like, I don't know, right? It depends on who you are, But in the future, we see really big city versus city kind of battles, right? It's gonna go back to the original thing, which is turf. Like b-boying's always been a turf thing. This is my turf. You're from that turf. We're all gonna battle, like that. It's always been very, almost like rumble, but not physical.
Yeah, so non-violent.
Non-violent, yeah. As close to being violent without actually touching each other.
Right. Physical but not violent. Yeah.
Exactly, very physical, not violent. Very egotistical. The moment you make the other person lose their confidence, then you can walk away saying, "I won," right? Yeah. So we look at it like that. Like in the future, Toronto against Montreal, maybe Boston against, and then maybe filling up stadiums to people come to see the main battle. So right now we're working on that in Korea. So we're gonna have Seoul City Drifters against Bucheon City Jinjo, kind of things like this. It's gonna be really crazy. It's gonna be insane because they have a lot of history of beef. They're both world champion crews, and they both represent their cities, and they have government support, and they're ready to just no more 10-minute battles in tournaments, but now 1 hour full. Just let's see who's better, right? Everything on the line, everything in your arsenal.
Well, guys, let's kind of rank them. Rank the beers for today. Any final thoughts that you want to share? Like, you know, you don't have to rank it. You could just be like, I enjoyed this and whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it really depends on style. This one, I really enjoyed the KBS, the last beer that we had. It's part of it's because it's rare and hard to find, but it's delicious, full flavored. Again, not a beer I would drink a lot of, but a nice treat.
Yeah.
I thought the Centennial didn't taste super fresh, but it was still okay. Session IPA was a good starter.
Yeah.
Not crazy about this one, but also delicious. And then the porter I really enjoyed. So today, for some reason, I was tending a little bit more towards the dark beers.
Interesting.
And it might be because it's summer and I just haven't been drinking those for a while, so it was kind of.
For sure, it's refreshing to have that.
Yep.
What about you, Namkyung?
But they're all solid, very well made beers.
Agree.
Yeah.
I'm a bit drunk.
Yeah.
Sorry for
It's
it.
dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous, so dangerous. And the KBS is so nice. And my first impression is just so amazing. I can remember 3 bars of beer today and all day session IPA. And then it was quite good. And then I like the bitterness of that one and then aroma of that one was so good. And then porter, this new impression actually. Because I didn't like at first, and then
When you first started.
I like because it is changing. Yeah, it depends. And then KBS is super amazing. So it was my good first impression.
I see. So, all day, KBS, and porter.
Porter is new impression.
Alright, what about you, Dyzee?
Okay, so to be honest, like it's my first time really tasting beers and stuff like that, but to be honest, I like number 3.
Number 3 was the porter.
Oh,
Yeah,
porter.
I like that one the best. Reason why is because to me it still fits into the beer category.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so it's like something you can just you can drink.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it's got that drinkability. It's still
Exactly,
full flavored, but it's
drinkability.
still
Oh, yeah.
drinkable.
Exactly. This is very good too, but it doesn't have this drinkability to me. I'm still trying to figure out what I feel about this. Like it tastes like Kahlua. You know what I mean?
We're just on like hard liquor.
It's like you know, it's interesting. I'm not saying that it's not. It's very interesting, but it's something that I can just sip and taste. Maybe I would grow some kind of liking to it over the time, but as of now, because I haven't drank so many beers, I don't have this. Oh, it's so rare. It's just what I feel about it.
That's the best way to approach it. So.
Yeah.
But I like the second beer.
Centennial.
That was really good. I like that one. Second, and then the third one, I like this one.
Okay, so third
Scotch.
Yeah, it's like Scotch. It's like almost like whiskey. It's not as drinkable. And then I like this one, and then the last one, and I like
All day.
the first one. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean that's why it's always interesting to have the guests because you don't know what KBS is or what that means. Like it's just like,
exactly.
do I like it or not?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
preconceived notions or any
Yeah.
hype expectations.
Yeah.
Because that's the hardest part about beer too, right? Because you fall into the hype.
Yeah,
And that's why in the future we do plan to do like blind
yeah.
tastings just to, see
Yeah.
if you're really
Yeah.
going to enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess for me personally, I'm going to go with, Dirty Bastard is my favorite of today.
Which one's
Then,
Dirty Bastard?
the
Oh,
Scotch.
this one.
Okay.
Just because
Interesting.
I just think it's a beautiful beer, it looks beautiful, it smells beautiful, it tastes wonderful, and it's not like too, how would you say, a lot of barley wines, I kind of get sick of it very quickly. Like, for example, I just had Sukaba recently, and there's no way I could drink more than 1 glass of this. This, I could drink the whole bottle.
Oh.
I like then number 2 KBS, then the Porter, then the All Day, and then I think Centennial was.
Which one was Centennial?
The second
Second
one.
one.
Second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it was, for the style, I don't really like it too malty like that. So.
Yeah.
But I think it's a beautiful looking beer.
Mm.
That's the thing.
It
about
was
it.
so.
It's such a beautiful beer.
Yeah.
Overall, founders, this is why they are one of the most famous
They're
brewers in
good.
the world. Right? So it was excellent.
For me, it was Game of Thrones, is number 3. Then it's like, the lodge and the big pine trees.
Yeah. There you go. The Game of Thrones to the line.
And then it was number 3 was
That was 3. The
Oh, the whiskey one.
The golf course.
Golf course.
Yeah.
Number 4 is this one.
Uh-huh.
And number 5 is lawnmower.
There you go. You know,
Which is exactly what I would want to do, right? Like,
while you're drinking it. That's so funny. That's interesting. Well, I guess the last thing before we end, Dyzee, is your and I'm gonna give Brendan the floor as well at the end. Is just what should we be looking out for what you're doing or what you care about? You can kind of tell the 1 or 2 people watching the show what they should be looking out for.
I think if I share this, I'll get a lot more people watching.
Okay.
So, no, what I think honestly is to watch out for, like, you know, breaking is like a very interesting culture. I've seen the similarities that it is with beer, beer tasting. It goes really deep, and I think that in the future you're gonna see it really rise up in the worldwide culture because it's all over the world, and every country gets to put in their unique flavor, their unique taste into it, and yeah, you'll see some very special battles in the future where it's going to be city versus city, kind of like similar to FIFA, right? So look out for that. It's coming soon, and just like the Olympics has brought in skating, you'll see breaking there in the future.
And is there anywhere we can follow you on like social media?
Instagram, Dyzee Diaries, Facebook, Dyzee Diaries. They're all Dyzee Diaries. Dyzee. That's hip hop spelling for Dyzee. Dyzee Diaries.
Okay.
We can add some subscribe.
Yeah. Subscribe.
Right. All right, and then Brendan, I'm sure this is not the last we're going to see of Brendan, but I guess you could tell us what Hong10와 Malt and you are up to.
Yeah, so
we should be expecting.
one of the things we're excited about that we're going to do in the near future is bottle conditioned beers. So we're going to release a limited series of bottle conditioned beers. Hopefully by the end of this year, and it'll be something we do periodically, just for specialty beers. We have a new barrel aged beer that I mentioned, and our plan is to always come out with something new every once in a while, just to keep people interested, to keep us interested as brewers. So we'll always have new beers on the horizon.
Awesome.
I think just Korean craft beer in general is so young that it's going to get better and better as more people get more experience and figure out the best ways to do things. So, you know, we may not be where Japan is or US as far as craft beer scene, but it's getting better and better. So if you're a Korean craft beer fan, this is a great time to be here drinking beers. And, you know, I would say not only look out for what Hong10와 Malt's doing, but just the Korean craft beer scene in general.
Cool, man.
I will definitely be looking out.
Yeah.
It's important to look out for the community, right? Because we're so small. We're like, even Korean craft beer is big, but it's what, like 1% of the market.
If that, not even.
So most people do not drink.
It's so awesome.
Start.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And seriously, we'll be on the lookout for both of you guys. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.